And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I apologize for the extended break. We were able to watch some duct tapes though, so hope you enjoyed the duct tapes. As we are now getting ready for our third best of 3 of the night. The players just conducting their vetoes, just getting things ready to take a moment to go to the bathroom, to get some water, to get some food, I imagine. And now we are back with a fresh best of 3. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss player representing his new team, no longer the Starving Camel, but now the Platinum Hero. It is Firefly. And it was recently announced a week or so ago that Firefly was picked up by the Platinum Heroes. They did offer him a juicy contract, and Firefly did go for it, was drawn to it by the light. And yeah, we can see that obviously it is a player worth picking up, just because he's been getting so many good results recently. Again, he took down Hero in Masters Coliseum. Even here today, he took down Classic as well. His PvP is clearly on point. And I mean, we've seen that ourselves in WTL. Like, Firefly quickly became the star player of the Starving Camels of his old team. And yeah, he was a player that they could really rely upon to take down some of these bigger names. Even though like Dark and Cure and Hero and Maru and all these guys, they're all favored players. Like, Firefly is such a hard player to read at times. He's very aggressive, he can be really cheeky, really cheesy, and he can punch up. He can punch up, he can go to toe with some of the best out there. His peaks are quite high, so a player not to underestimate whatsoever. As we are going to be getting into our game. And even though coming into this, Dark is the favorite player, like, again, you have to be very careful against Firefly, because I would have said the same thing about Classic. To be fair, like, those are different matchups, right? PvP is a little more chaotic, and nature is, you know, a little bit more unforgiving at times as well than some of these other matchups. So we'll see if Firefly can make that magic happen again. We'll see if he can cause another upset. For now, standard opener. Nothing too crazy from either player. Hatch gas pull from our Zerg. From Dark, should be seeing a third base momentarily once he deals with this probe. Likewise, Firefly across the map going for a Stargate opener. Nothing too crazy yet. Nothing crazy yet. Now, as we get into Gressvan, this is where we can start talking about the map a little bit. The map itself is very defensive, so we could try and make use of that here for Firefly. Could try and take this a little bit slower in approach and go for a later timing of a 3-base economy. Something with, say, like Archons and Immortals, you know, be defensive and go up to double robo production. Firefly has done this in the past. Or I could be thinking of Jeshi. I want to say Firefly has done that in the past. It is something that you can definitely get into a little bit easier on a map like Gressvan. Otherwise, we could see something more aggressive early on. Off of this Stargate opener, we can go for a fast Twilight Council. We can go into Glaive Adepts. We have also seen Firefly take down some big Zerg players by faking them out and by sneaking into something like Glaive Adepts. I'll always remember that he brought down Sham doing that in WTL when they faced off against Starlight Twinkle. But for now, third base is soon to be on the way. Across the map, Dark saturating his natural, building up his queen count. He's got 2 queens in the main, 2 queens at the third base. The natural is getting up and running. And the first Oracle is hitting the field. Now, what's interesting is that we're going Oracle into Phoenix, not Oracle into Oracle. So we do have a Phoenix coming up behind this to clear out these Overlords to keep Dark in said Dark. And there it is. We already have something really weird going on here. Okay, so the Phoenix does hit the field, is going to be hunting down these Overlords. The Overlord should be, I think it is barely going to go down. The Oracle finding a drone, not even. Oh my god. Dark. Going to be deflecting the Oracle away from the mineral line. It does end up getting one Overlord with the Phoenix, but behind this, we don't have a Twilight Council, we don't have a Forge. It's a Robo follow-up, and I was talking about double Robo earlier. I was not expecting this, though. It's going to be double Robo straight away off the bat. Oh my, this is different. This is just a little bit different now. The Overlord is diving on in. We do have a second Overlord behind this, and we will scout the Robo. Okay. So a Robo and a Forge makes plenty of sense. This is going to be for Immortal production and for +1. But we are racing into a second Robo, into Robotics Bay for double Colossus production. I'm assuming it's going to be Colossi. It could be Disruptors. Either or. So yeah, this is going to be very... I mean, we're cutting a lot of corners. We're cutting a lot of corners to make this happen. We are only working off of 2 gateways, so Firefly is very vulnerable to an attack right now. But if he's able to get this third base up and running, if he's able to get up to 4 Colossi, then there can be a bit of a power spike here for Firefly that he can take advantage of. And Dark is not going to be expecting that. We'll see. For now, Dark doesn't really know what the follow-up is. He doesn't know yet, but he does have another Overlord. Firefly, he hasn't done the best job at hunting down all of the vision that's out on the map with this Phoenix. He hasn't been able to find all the Overlords, so as a result, Dark has a chance. Does confirm the Immortal on the way. We have continued Immortal production. There it is, Colossus now beginning as well. So we have Colossi on the way. Behind this, we have these Oracles finding a Queen. Not too bad. Ling also does scout and confirm that gases are being taken. And interesting. What's going to hit first? What came first? The Lurker or the full Colossi? We have a Hydrogen on the way for Dark. So Hydra Lurker Viper is what is on the horizon here for Dark. And Lurkers will be a good defense here against anything ground related. But I worry that it may be too late. I worry that it may take too long. We'll see. As we do have Lings amassing outside the third base. There it is. Lurker Den is now in production for Dark. 2 Colossi have already hit the field. We have 2 more on the way. And again, I'm pretty sure we want to hit with 4 Colossi. They haven't been revealed yet, but an Overseer Scout does see the gateway explosion. Did not see the second Robo yet, but he should once he does move in with his Lings. But so far, Dark hasn't seen much of anything. I mean, he saw the gateway, so he should know that Firefly is soon about to be aggressive. Dark was also checking the third base locations to make sure that no 4th was on the way. And Dark, looking at his units here, he's got 11 Hydras. He needs to morph in as many Lurkers as he can as soon as that Lurker Den is done, because here we go. We have 4 Colossi, we are hitting that power spike, and Firefly is sending everything across the map. He does have a Prism on the way to reinforce. How many gateways? He is up to 8 gateways, soon to be 9 gateways on 3 bases. And he has arrived faster, earlier than is normal. Lings come in for a backstab. They catch some Stalkers, but the Colossus are pushing on forward. And again, Dark, he's in a lot of trouble. He has 2 Lurkers on the way, but I don't think that's going to be enough. To be fair, there is no detection available here for Firefly. Lings come in from behind. They get a surround, but the Lings, they go down to the Colossi. The Baylings, good connections. They take down 2 Colossi just barely. The Lurkers have arrived. Again, only 2 Lurkers, but Dark is holding. There it is, 6 more Lurkers in production. And they are necessary to hold on. For 2 Colossus to go down, that is now half the firepower gone here for Firefly. Not an ideal start for our Protoss player. Losing so much DPS already. The Lurkers are in position. Oh my god, the Phoenixes! Unburring, uprooting the Lurkers. It looks like Dark is still barely holding on, just barely. As a reminder, there is no detection. We do have a revelation on a lot of these Lurkers, but the revelation, it runs out. The revelation runs out. GG gets called, and Dark holds. He takes game number 1. but that was a close hold. I'll be honest, if we had detection 1, we probably could have had a better fight overall. But if Dark's initial banelings didn't kill those 2 Colossi, that may have it may have just been too much. Firefly may have just snowballed and killed Dark then and there. But alas, because he was able to just barely get those 2 Colossi, it did force Firefly to back off, did force him to rotate around, and it gave Dark enough time to make 6 more lurkers because he only had 2 at the time. He only had 2. GG, that was close. That was pretty damn close. But Dark will take a lead in that series. Again, though, shout out to Firefly for being so unorthodox, right? So why I bring that up? Typically, when we have double robo production, it's usually off of a Twilight Council. So typically, the Protoss player would go for a Stargate opener into a Twilight Council and a Forge to get Blink and +1. The reason for this is to be safe, is to actually have an army to protect your third, while then you get into your double robo and then your Colossus production, right? It's like it's just a safe way to play. It's the standard way to play if you're going for this kind of style. But that game, Firefly, he cut corners, he avoided the Twilight Council entirely, went into very earlier robos than normal, and he almost caught Dark with his pants down. I mean, the pants were down. It was crazy. Dark was exposed, but he didn't care. And here we go. We're now getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Altitude, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss player representing his new team, the Platinum Heroes. It is Firefly. We go. We are going to be getting into our next game, and yeah, so far so good. I just love that Firefly did something a little bit different, a little bit quirky, and that's why like he's the player to keep your eye on, because he can be such a cheeky player. I wonder what he has in store for us here on Altitude, a much larger map, the largest map in the map pool. The last time I saw Firefly on Altitude, I mean, we've seen him before, but what comes to mind is Glavid Eps. I think he went up to a 6-gate Glavid Eps with one of them proxied out here at the 4th base location. So could Firefly do something crazy like that again? He could. Definitely could. For now, hatch, gas pool opener here from Dark. Very standard stuff. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too wild. By everything looking as it should. We have the Cybercore on the way again. It was a gate expand, so a very greedy opener here from Firefly, but this is something that Protoss players can do on larger maps like like Altitude or near Humanity. It's a little bit risky, but larger maps in general can go for, you can delay your Cybercore a little bit longer. Can do so. As Firefly once again is going for a Stargate opener, but as we saw in the last game, just because you go for a Stargate doesn't mean you have to go for standard play. Doesn't mean that Firefly doesn't have something up his sleeve. Up his shirt? I'll leave it at that. As for now, both players just vying for map control. Lings are out. And Eps are out. Try to take control of the Zonagas. As Dark is going to be able to sit past. Oh! He is going to be able to sit past. Barely doesn't throw. Pylon does block his way. And the Lings are not allowed entry into the main. It is going to be an Oracle opener here from Firefly. Just like the last game. We'll see if he goes for another Phoenix, or if he does avoid that. Ooh, as the Eps do shaded to the mineral line. The Lings were a little bit out of position. 3 drones go down. Pretty good damage done here for Firefly. To get 3 workers. Catching up in the chat. Yeah. They were down. It was crazy, Poppy. It was crazy. As Link's going to be moving out as well. Just going to be scouting, checking the third base. Confirming that there's no 2-base all incoming. So Dark is just piecing this together. And now we're waiting for the tech here. We're waiting for the follow-up from Firefly. We should be seeing a Robo or a Twilight Council or a Forge. We should be seeing something momentarily here from our Protoss player. Oh, there it is. There it is. It is going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge, so very standard follow-up this time from Firefly. Nothing too crazy yet. Everything's looking as it should. We could be seeing something like a fast charge, and from here, once the Twilight Council is done, we can go into a Templar Archives. So we can still be very aggressive with this, but for the time being, everything is looking very normal. Everything is looking very normal here from Firefly. There it is, +1, blink on the way, not charge. He's playing standard. It's crazy. Meanwhile, back at home, as we've been focusing a lot on, you know, what Firefly has been doing and what he hasn't been doing as well. We see Dark just droning up on 3 bases, saturating. He takes his 2nd and 3rd gas geyser in his natural. He's taking his 3rd and 4th. Sorry, his 3rd and 4th and his 5th and 6th gas here at his 3rd base. He's working on a macro hatchery. Roach Warren is on the way. Now, what is interesting about what Dark is doing is that he did not go for a I almost said a Forge. He didn't go for an Evo chamber. No Evo chamber. And we see why. I was like, this is too much gas here for Roaches, especially without 1-1. It's because Dark is planning to go mass muta. Spire is on the way, and Dark has been enjoying mutas a lot recently against Protoss. He is a muta enjoyer, and this is really risky, so Dark is cutting a lot of corners. He does have a safety Roach Warren, but he needs to be active with these lings. He needs to be as active as possible to scout any kind of big move out. He doesn't see this, but I'm sure he'll be happy to find out that Firefly, instead of pushing on 3 bases, he's going for a 4th. There is no gateway explosion here from Firefly. He's still only working off of 5 gates. Now working on a Robo, now getting his 4th. This tells us that Firefly, he's not going to attack anytime soon. He's macroing. He's chilling back at home. He's reclining. The feet are up. And because of that, Dark is going to get away with this. Now the pressure is on Firefly to scout. Like, he does have map control with these oracles. He's denying the 4th, which is good. He's going to be rotating over to the other 4th base. But he needs to do more than this. He needs to dip between the bases just to figure out what exactly Dark is making, because he has no idea. You get some drones, which is nice. A worker, a drone. There it is. 15 mutas are in production. Lings do go for a counterattack. They're going to be swatted away. But again, I'm sure Dark is happy to see a 4th base. Happy to see Stalkers back at home. Now, we do have anti-air. We do have some Blink Stalkers, to be fair. But the mutas, they're here, Fappy. Oh, they have arrived. The mutas have arrived, and in the main base there is nothing. There are no cannons, there are no shield batteries, there is nothing prepared. Lings are getting ready to punish the 4th. As the mutas, they take down Stalker after Stalker. The Dark Shrine is revealed. GG gets called. The mutas on their own, they end the game, and Dark will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Again, Firefly just a little bit too preoccupied and focused on himself. Meanwhile, he had no idea what Dark was up to. He was just making a bunch of assumptions. He was taking things for granted, as we saw, just because we have vision, of course. Dark was prioritizing his gases, didn't have any upgrades on the way. He was just focusing everything on the Spire play, on the mutas. And he was doing a good job at just keeping his opponent busy, with at least with his ground army. With Triple Oracle, though, again, it is very imperative that the Protoss player be scouting for tech and figuring out exactly what the Zerg player's army composition is going to be based off of. Is it going to be mutas? Are we rushing into lurkers again? Are we going massling into ultras, right? There are different possibilities, different options, and Protoss, you need to know. Protoss need to know. Regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to Dark, as he does advance on into the next round, and let's catch up with what has been going on and with who he's up against next, if anyone. Let's find out.